Former banker Russell Lucius Laffitte, 54, of Estill, has pleaded guilty in federal court to conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, and 3 counts of misapplication of bank funds. Russell Laffitte and Alex Murdaugh abused their positions of power to victimize people who trusted them, said Ben Garner, chief of the U.S. Attorney's Office Criminal Division. As of today, both have pleaded guilty and accepted responsibility for their crimes in federal court. We appreciate the exhaustive work of our partners at the FBI, SLED, and South Carolina Attorney General's Office to ensure justice for Laffitte and Murdaugh's victims. Laffitte was an officer and executive at Palmetto State Bank in Hampton, South Carolina. His co-conspirator, Alex Murdaugh, was a personal injury attorney at a law firm in Hampton. As part of his guilty plea, Laffitte admitted that he agreed to serve as conservator and personal representative for several of Murdaugh's clients, knowing that he would personally profit from doing so. Beginning in 2011, Laffitte began extending himself and Murdaugh loans from conservator accounts Laffitte was charged with managing. Laffitte did not disclose the loans to the conservatees, despite owing them a fiduciary duty. Around that time, Murdaugh devised a scheme to obtain money belonging to his clients. In furtherance of the scheme, Murdaugh directed law firm employees to make clients' checks payable to Palmetto State Bank. The checks were drawn on the law firm's client trust account, identified the clients on the memo lines, and corresponded to amounts set forth in the client's disbursement sheets. As to 2 of Murdaugh's clients, Laffitte, their conservator, saw their disbursement sheets and knew that the bank was supposed to receive their settlement funds. Murdaugh presented the clients' checks to Laffitte and directed that they be used for Murdaugh's personal benefit, including to pay off loans Laffitte had extended from conservator accounts. Laffitte negotiated 9 separate transactions for Murdaugh's benefit, knowing that the funds belonged to the clients. Laffitte also aided and abetted the structuring of transactions from a second check belonging to one of the clients, dispersing the funds at Murdaugh's direction and for Murdaugh's personal benefit. As to a third client of Murdaugh's, Laffitte negotiated 12 separate transactions, dispersing $1,325,000 in client settlement funds for Murdaugh's benefit. Despite knowing they were client funds, Laffitte allowed Murdaugh to use the funds to repay Murdaugh's personal loans, repay loans Laffitte extended from a conservator account, purchase vehicles and equipment, and receive cash back. Laffitte also deposited some of the funds into Murdaugh's personal account. Laffitte received $75,000 in conservator fees and $35,000 in personal representative fees from these 3 clients. He intentionally failed to report this income on his tax returns, knowing that he could hide the income because the fee checks were drafted to Palmetto State Bank rather than to him personally. Laffitte also structured transactions to avoid reporting requirements and intentionally failed to file suspicious activity reports. In 2015, Laffitte misapplied bank funds by extending over $284,000 from a line of credit that was supposed to be for farming to repay Murdaugh's remaining loans from the conservatorship. Laffitte also misapplied bank funds on 2 other occasions. In July 2021, he extended Murdaugh a $750,000 loan for the stated purpose of beach house renovations. But Laffitte authorized a $350,000 wire transfer to an attorney and then transferred $400,000 of loan proceeds to Murdaugh's account to cover over $367,000 in overdraft, knowing that these funds had nothing to do with beach house renovations. In October 2021, the law firm uncovered that Murdaugh had stolen from clients. Laffitte knew he had negotiated stolen checks at Murdaugh's direction, despite knowing the funds did not belong to Murdaugh. Laffitte then paid the law firm $680,000 in bank funds without the knowledge or consent of the full bank board of directors or executive committee in an attempt to settle the matter with the law firm. A federal jury previously convicted Laffitte of these same 6 charges in 2022. His conviction was overturned by the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals in late 2024. Under the terms of the plea agreement, Laffitte agrees to pay $3,555,884.80 in criminal restitution before sentencing. Laffitte also agrees that his guilty plea prohibits him from controlling or participating in the conduct of any federally insured bank or credit union, and he cannot serve as a director or officer of any such bank or credit union without permission. If Laffitte complies with the plea agreement's terms, the parties agree that the appropriate sentence is 5 years in prison, and the government agrees not to file any additional related charges against Laffitte